We're looking at bilateral negotiations. Everything in international relations is based on the concept of reciprocity. So we're not looking at a one-sided arrangement. We're looking at multilateral agreements. We're looking at agreements in, as you know, Brazilian Army assists the Guyana Defense Force in training. The Brazilian Army is assisted in the digging of wells in the Rupununi. And there are so many other areas of concern, and there are a lot of Brazilians living in Guyana, people who come into mining. There's some parts of the city which are, taken over by the Brazilians, and Portuguese is spoken. They have Brazilian supermarkets. Brazilians are into diamond mining, gold mining. So it's a level of cooperation that we want to foster. And petroleum is just one of the areas that could invest in. They've invested in gold and diamonds. Why not invest in bauxite or petroleum?
As the areas that Brazil and Guyana continue to partner in, those areas continue to grow. Of course, that deepens the importance of integration, at our border levels. And today an agreement was signed with regard to the advancing the road network between the two countries. Could you talk a little bit about the importance of that agreement?
Well, the road between Brazil and Guyana is I would say, 3.5 decades long. The dream of that road, we all know that Brazil is a large country. It's the largest country in the continent. And in its interest, in its quest to develop the northern part of Brazil, it sought an outlet to the sea. The only other outlet is through the Amazon River, which is the longest river in the world. And it was always envisaged that a route through Guyana would provide, better development prospects for investors to come from the Caribbean into Brazil and from Brazil into the Caribbean. So this is something that's been long discussed. In fact, in some parts of the Rupununi, the roads were actually aligned, but we never had funding to complete it. So the public infrastructure agreement that we're entering will be focused on fulfilling that obligation to build a road between Lethem and Linden. As you know, Brazil has done its part. Brazil has built the bridge under President Lula da Silva, and the road literally comes right up to the bridge, the Brazilian road. So we need to do our part. So that is a very important agreement that was signed.
And what would that mean for that whole region in Guyana, just to have that road network developed, not just for the relationship between the two countries, but for the people of Guyana who live in that area particularly?
Well, the road is not only for Brazilians, the road is for Guyanese, and right now Rupununi is the largest region in Guyana. It's as big as Costa Rica, but it doesn't have a proper road, either east-west or north-south. So the road is bound to encourage the development of the Rupununi region, and at the same time, it will encourage international trade between the Caribbean and Brazil. So it's very important for us. I look forward to seeing the Essequibo River, Guyana's longest river, being bridged. I look forward to seeing a highway so that Guyanese farmers in the hinterland, particularly region, the Pataro Siparuni and Rupununi region, will be able to get their products to market.
And of course, with the agreement, the second agreement, which would allow for the digging of wells, artesian wells in the Rupununi particular area is known to be susceptible to drought. That, of course, is an extremely important agreement.
Yes. The Brazilian Army has been asked to assist us. As you know, Rupununi is susceptible to cyclical droughts and floods. So we want to remove that uncertainty and have a system under which the communities, there are over 50 villages in Rupununi, could be supplied with fresh water continuously during the year. And the Brazilian terrain across the border is similar in many respects. So there's not only going to be a supply of physical infrastructure, but there's also going to be transfer of technology.
And lastly, of course, Brazil has continued to be a strong partner for Guyana with regard to the Venezuela border controversy. Was that discussed in today's meeting, and what details can you provide?
Yeah, well, Brazil traditionally has been, I would say, a guarantor of Guyana's territorial integrity. Brazil has borders with every country on the continent of South America except two. And Brazil has stated over and over again it has no interest in redrawing borders. So, as a matter of principle, without getting into the nitty-gritty of the Guyana-Venezuela controversy, Brazil has stated over and over again its principle that borders which have been established under international law should not be disturbed. And that's all we ask for.
You also had a bilateral meeting with the head of state of Argentina. Could you discuss with us some of the areas that were covered in that meeting?
Well, Argentina has a very strong presence, of course, on the continent, and Argentina has an embassy in Georgetown. We were very interested in two aspects, really. One is the protection of the environment, and Argentina is very concerned about the environment, and it has instituted a lot of good practices. And the second is that Argentina, at least the present president, has a concern about humanitarian situations. So we asked that consideration could be given to strengthening the CDEMA platform, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, so that when the next hurricane comes in the Caribbean, we'd be better prepared to respond. The will exists among the Caribbean countries, but there is no way that we could, in the short term, provide the lift in terms of ships, in terms of aircraft, that we need to respond to these crises within 24 or 48 hours. So we're looking to countries like Argentina to see how they could help us with our disaster preparedness. And the responses were quite good. I reckon that in the new year, there are going to be people, technicians and experts coming in from Argentina to help us to strengthen our disaster relief capability.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you too.